Let's look at the second conditional. The second conditional gives conditions about the present or future, but they are unreal or impossible situations. In other words, they are hypothetical. And we make it like this: if plus subject plus past simple, comma, then subject plus would plus verb. For example, if I had a horse, I would ride it every day. It's hypothetical because the reality is that I don't have a horse. A negative sentence looks like this: if I didn't have a horse, I wouldn't be happy. Or we can write it like this: I wouldn't be happy if I didn't have a horse. Don't forget there's no comma if the if part comes second. The meaning is this: this is hypothetically certain. I wouldn't be happy. But the reality is that I have a horse and I am happy. Notice that the second conditional does not describe the past, even though we use past simple. It describes an unreal or hypothetical present or future. If the second part is not certain, we use may, might, or could. For example, if I had a horse, I could be happy. It means I don't have a horse now, but if I did, my happiness still wouldn't be certain. Look at this. The reality is I don't have a horse, so I can't ride one every day. The unreal situation, the hypothesis, the hypothetical present, is positive. If I had a horse, I would ride it every day. In this sentence, the reality is negative, so the unreal situation is positive. In this sentence, the reality is positive. I have a horse, I'm happy. Which means the hypothesis would be negative. If I didn't have a horse, I wouldn't be happy. With the verb to be in the second conditional, there is a slight rule change. We say, if I were rich, I would buy a house for my parents. Normally was comes after I. Some people may say, if I was rich, I would buy a house for my parents, but that's spoken English. Also, if he were rich, he would buy a house for his parents. Again, normally, with he, she, and it, we use was, but not in the second conditional. However, saying or writing if he was is acceptable these days, but I suggest you write and say if I were, or if she were, he were, if it were. There's a very formal form of the second conditional, and it's like this, with were before the subject. Were I rich, I would buy a house for my parents. Were he rich, he would buy a house for his parents. Sometimes when you look at a situation, you may think it's possible, but somebody else might think it's impossible. In these situations, you can use either the first conditional, if you think it's possible, or the second conditional if you don't think it's possible. Look at this, winning the lottery. Can you win it? Statistically speaking, yes, but it's a 1 in 40 million chance, or something like that. So, do you use the first or second conditional? It depends on your psychology. If you think it's a real possible situation, you can say, if I win the lottery, I will buy a house. You are being optimistic. If you are more realistic, and if you understand mathematics, use second conditional. If I won the lottery, I would buy a house. As you know there is a 1 in a million chance or 1 in 40 million chance of winning, it's really impossible in your mind. Or maybe you don't really buy tickets. Therefore, this is an unreal future event. Let's do some practice. Make logical sentences using the second conditional. Change would to wouldn't where necessary. If it rained more in Africa, there wouldn't be a hunger problem. The fact is, there isn't enough rain in Africa, and there is a hunger problem. If I wore glasses, I would wear that pair. If she knew your mistake, she would be angry. If playing the piano were easy, I would take lessons. If we didn't have a meeting, we would go home. If we didn't have a meeting, we could go home. If I married Jennifer Aniston, I would live in Hollywood. I'm speaking hypothetically here, but let's say, for example, I'm very optimistic. I can say, if I marry Jennifer Aniston, I will live in Hollywood. Here I've chosen to use first conditional because I really think it will happen. Of course. If there were a solution, I would find it. This is the verb to be. Even though it's singular, a solution, it. Because it's the verb to be, we write were. Somebody could say if there was a solution, that would be okay these days. Or, more formally, were there a solution, I would find it. On the second practice PDF, you will find examples about the second conditional. Download that, then answer the questions and check your answers. Good luck!